Go ahead and call the Tuesday, April 1st, 2014 meeting to order. We will do our invocation and our pledge. If I could ask you to rise, that'll be done by our City Attorney, Mr. Tom Trask.
Our Heavenly Father, as the citizens of the City of Oldsmar meet together to address our local concerns and opportunities, we give thanks to you for the bounty that we enjoy in all aspects of our community life and for the peace and beauty that we enjoy each day. We ask for your inspiration to strive for excellence in our endeavors to serve the public. Grant us peace in our world and harmony between all people to your greater glory. This we pray. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and once again, welcome. Some of us are a little more casual than others. Bruce and I were at a TDC County Commission meeting all day, so we came straight from there here. But anyway, we appreciate you coming out tonight. Our first item is our Citizens Open Forum. It allows you to address the council. We only have a couple of rules: that you keep it to no more than 5 minutes, state your name and address clearly for the record, and that you speak towards nothing on the agenda. Having said that, do we have anybody on this side that would like to address the council?
Hello, my name is Brenda Gall and I live at 2030 Montego Court in Oldsmar. I'm here on behalf of Oldsmar Cares to thank the city for their continued support. I'm here with the rest of the Oldsmar Cares board: David Wallace, Dan Staraki, Scott Nixon, Sheila Manny, and Suzanne Vale. We take the support that you give us as a vote of confidence in the work that we do and how we're supporting the community. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on this side? Yep.
Good evening. My name is John Benincasa. I live at 125 Camp First Circle, number D, Unit D, in Oldsmar, Florida. If I lose a sale in my business, I have two options. One, I can assume the person was an unreasonable so-and-so, and I could just let it go at that. Or, because getting sales is important to the growth of my business and the health of it, I can reflect upon, in spite of that person maybe being a disagreeable so-and-so, how I can get that sale in the future because it's important to the growth of my business. Now, if, as I have heard, this Thornton's deal has gone south on the city, then I would urge each and every one of you, individually and collectively, to reflect upon how things can be done in the future so when opportunities come by like that, they do not slip by, because that's important to the growth of the city and this community. If, on the other hand, I am mistaken in that sense, then I would still urge you to look for creative ways to make it easier for businesses like Thornton's to come here and do development, because it is critical to this growth of this great city and its wonderful future that I think is very bright and ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, can you are wrong, by the way. It has not went south. But to answer you, we have two responsibilities. Not only to the business that's coming to town, which we want to in this town, we have a responsibility. If you go to every city in this city or in this county, this city is unique in a bunch of ways. It's unique because we have more parks, land than any other city. We have more trails than any other city, and we have an architectural design in this city that sets us apart from all other cities. And that's another one of our responsibilities. And you don't have to answer that because you always said something. So we have two responsibilities. Thornton's has not gone south, but when a business wants to come into this town, we have a responsibility that they adhere to our architectural standards. That's all I got to say, Mayor.
Mm-hmm. And we did that night, not to belabor the subject, but we did approve their site plan with some minor modifications or conditions that were upon that. So we did approve the site plan, and we are trying to work through some of the minor issues. So anybody else? I saw Jerry come in. Do you have anything? Yeah.
Thank you, Doug. Jerry Cousin, up to Bay Chamber of Commerce, 101 State Street. Just want to report on Oldsmar Days. I made a mistake. I prayed that we have good weather for parade. I didn't know God was on Eastern Daylight Time. He gave us exactly the time we needed to get the parade in, and of course we lost half a day. But the turned out really good. We were blessed Sunday with just absolutely gorgeous weather. I think it's probably the best Sunday we've ever had. People were ready to come out, and overall, based on the numbers, I think we had about 10,000 people there. So CVB estimates that everybody spends about $30. So that'd be like $300,000. Of course, we get less than 10% of that, but I think it was a really good thing, and I think really thank you for your effort in doing the MC. And I think you saw Sunday as you kept asking the crowd, anybody here for the first time, and how do you like it?
Yeah, it was a great. I was telling Bruce earlier, to ask that question and how many people raised their hand and that really enjoyed the event. Yeah. So it was definitely big. And I know we talked about rain all weekend long. But I think if it was going to rain at any time, it rained at the exact time we got the parade in and the nighttime session in. And
exactly.
We lost, the 12 to 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock crowd.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I
we lost that, but otherwise it turned out great. And, when you get a day like Sunday and sit up there in that park, it's just, doesn't get any better.
Yeah.
Doesn't get any better.
Onward and upward. Freedom Fest next.
Yep.
Thanks. Anybody else on this side? Okay. Anybody on this side? Yep. We are name tag heavy tonight, aren't we? Between Oldsmar Cares and...
I'm Lauren Murphy, 7910 Beasley Road, Tampa, Florida. I'll start off by saying I live in Northwest Tampa, but I feel like I'm a member of the Oldsmar community. I really like Oldsmar. I run in the Armadillo Run. I love the Lobster Shack. So I'm here with my quilt members from Quilters Crossing in Palm Harbor, and we had a challenge to make a certain kind of quilt, and we had them all hung at City Hall. So because I love Oldsmar so much, I thought I would incorporate Oldsmar City Hall into the quilt and let it live there. So I'm donating this quilt to the City Hall of Oldsmar, and I'm just very happy to have you have it, and I'm here to give it to you tonight.
Awesome.
Nice.
The mayor's coming in.
Nice. Very nice.
Beautiful.
I gotta tell you, I see a lot of the exhibits that go in there, with the exception of the schools that bring all their kids in. There were so many people every time I would go in there for a meeting in there looking at the quilts. I have no idea what they were talking about, patterns and colors. But this is great. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, one of the, my beautiful wife of 58 years, at one time was one of the largest antique quilt dealers in the South. And she loves quilts. Her oldest quilt is dated 1824. It is an album quilt, by the way, but it's not one of the beautiful album quilts that go for $100,000. This one's not near like that one, but but quilts are incredible. Quilts are an art unto themselves.
Very unique. Yes, this is really great. Thanks for your picture. Thank you. We'll hang this summer special. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, ladies.
Lauren, may I ask a question? Yes. What was the theme? I actually was at a client's house the other day, and she said she was going to come and look at the quilts because she knew some of you, and she said it was some kind of theme. What is it?
We had a Storm at Sea quilt block. That is this block, at this block here, that we had incorporated into our quilt. Some of them were hidden. You couldn't really see them. Some were very evident. And also this very bright fabric that has a lot of colors. We all had to put that somewhere in our quilt.
So Storm at Sea.
Yes, Storm at Sea.
Okay.
So that's what all the ladies were going around going, oh, there it is.
They were looking for it. Thank you very much.
That's exactly right.
It is not unusual for a contemporary quilt to go at a, in fact, we're going to attend the National Folk Fest in Atlanta this year. Our son at one time, before we lost him, was one of the leading folk artists in America. And if you go up there, there will be contemporary quilts. Some are made by colored ladies and others are made by, in fact, there's a big quilt extravaganza in Texas. And that's one of the big ones you go to, the one in Texas, which my wife has done two or three times. But it's not unusual for one of those contemporary quilts to go for $20,000, $25,000, $30,000. Wow. Without a blink of an eye.
I think the ladies are impressed you know so much about quilting.
We're very impressed.
As am I. Anything else, Jerry, about quilting? Anybody else on this side of the room? Anybody else in the room that I missed? Seeing nobody, will close the citizens'
My
open.
wife's never made one. She tried one time and quit.
Before we get started, I think I will do this while everybody's here. Sitting in front of us tonight is a great honor. We submitted our project, the reverse osmosis plant, for 2 awards recently, and we thought we might get first place in one of them, and we were shocked that we wound up winning first place in both of them. And it's one of the awards, I think that one is for Going Green, and this one is for development and infrastructure for our reverse osmosis plant. It was a great awards banquet, and anybody else can chime in, but a big thanks to our staff that really are the ones that put this together and make us shine as a city. And Lisa and I thought we might win the third one because that was kind of a hidden vote that you didn't know, and we figured since we won 2, we might as well. But we got beat out by Pasco County, right? Didn't we? Yeah, we got beat out by Pasco County. But to win 1 was great, but to win 2 is even better. I don't know if you were there.
It was wonderful. It really was. I mean, we really thought that we might win the Going Green.
Yeah.
And then when they announced that we won first place in infrastructure, we're all looking at each other and we're like all happy, and we go up and we get our award. And then we thought, well, the city of Dunedin might get the Going Green because they went platinum. And I think Lisa said first city in Florida to go platinum, green city. And when they called our name for the first place for Going Green, we're squealing. We're going up.
We were like a bunch of school kids.
On the way
there.
up, I know we were. Another commissioner had said to me, he goes, "Y'all are the Meryl Streep of these awards." It was so funny. But yeah, it's quite an honor. And then I just read that they also received the Drinking Water Plant Operations Excellent Award on Tuesday from FDEP for Medium Community Water System. I didn't know that one, in the Southwest District. So congratulations to all of y'all for that, too.
Anyway, I wanted to do that now instead of the council comments because they're going to be sitting up there in front of me all day, probably blocking me from the cameras, which is a good thing. Our first item is the consent docket. It is authorize the city manager to purchase replacement generator for the city hall from GSA contract. Anything to add to that, Bruce?
No, I don't have anything to add.
Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Passes 4-0, thank you. Next is the City of Oldsmar, and that is the presentation of the proclamation for National Library Week. Make sure I have the right one. Now we'll go ahead and read that. It reads, whereas libraries help lives change in their communities, campuses, and schools, and whereas librarians work to meet the changing needs of their communities, including providing resources for everyone and bringing services outside of library walls, and whereas libraries and librarians bring together community members to enrich and shape the community and address local issues, and whereas librarians are trained tech-savvy professionals providing technology, training, and access to downloadable content like ebooks, and whereas librarians offer programs to meet community needs, providing residents with resume writing classes, 24/7 homework help, and financial planning services to teens, and applying for student loans to older adults planning their retirement, and whereas libraries continuously grow and evolve in how they provide for the needs of every member of their community, and whereas libraries, librarians, library workers, and supporters across America are celebrating National Library Week. Now, therefore, I, Doug Beavis, Mayor of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, do hereby proclaim the week of April 13th through the 19th, 2014 as National Library Week in the City of Oldsmar, and encourage all residents to visit the library this week to take advantage of the wonderful library resources available at your library. Lives change at your library. Dated this, the first day of April 2014, Doug Beavis, Mayor. And Bert Weber, you're right, I saw you. I know this is a dumb question. Hey, Bert, do you have anything to say?
Yes. Yes, come down and see us. We've got things going on all the time, and we have everything but coffee, but we're working on that too. So come see us. Yep.
I was at the Oldsmar parade, and the person that rode in my car had not been to the library. I took her and her daughter there, and she was just amazed at the quality of the library that we have. So definitely a proud. Didn't we win a national award for the building? And I think we did.
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
So it's a beautiful library. That's just
It's
been repainted.
6 years old now.
Yeah, it's been repainted.
We keep referring to it as the new library, but it's 6 years old.
What, are you
Hard to
hitting us up
believe.
for a new one already?
No.
Well, congratulations. I think we do this.
Thanks.
You can hold it.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next is another proclamation. It is a proclamation for Water Conservation Month, and I'll go ahead and read that. Water Conservation Month, whereas water is a basic and essential need of every living creature, and whereas the state of Florida water management districts and the city of Oldsmar are working together to increase awareness about the importance of water conservation, and whereas the city of Oldsmar and the state of Florida have designated April, typically a dry month when water demands are most acute, as Florida's Water Conservation Month to educate citizens about how they can help save Florida's precious water resources, and whereas the city of Oldsmar has always encouraged and supported water conservation through various educational programs and special events, and whereas every business, industry, school, and citizen can make a difference when it comes to conserving water, and whereas every business, industry, school, and citizen can help by saving water and thus promote a healthy economy and community. Now, therefore, I, Doug Beavis, Mayor of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2014 as Water Conservation Month in the City of Oldsmar, and call upon all citizens and businesses to help protect our precious resource by practicing water-saving measures and becoming more aware of the needs to save water. Dated this first day of April 2014, Doug Beavis, Mayor. Lisa Ray. And your microphone.
Okay, well, I want to say that the citizens of Oldsmar are very good at conserving water. We just completed our SwiftMud annual water supply report, and in that we have to calculate the per capita use. In Oldsmar, our residents are using, on average, 75 gallons per person per day. That is well below the state and the national average. The state average is usually around 100, and national average regionally, it can be up to about 150 gallons per day. So our residents are doing a fantastic job of conserving water. So we appreciate their help. And then in honor of Water Conservation Month, Stefan Baza, our sustainability coordinator, is doing a rain barrel course this weekend on Saturday with the Organic Garden Group. And I think there are 5 spots left, if I'm not mistaken. So, three. We're down to 3. So there's a few spots left. If you're interested, you can see him and sign up for this weekend.
Very awesome. Congratulations. Good. Perfect. Congratulations. Saturday, what time did you say? 11 o'clock. On St. Pete Drive. No, Lafayette. Sorry, I was driving St. Pete today.
Are you sure?
Yeah, sure. Right there by Jerry Beaverland Boulevard or whatever it is.
Close to the sewer plant.
Right, yeah. Shocking. Next is our city attorney.
Mr. Mayor, council members, item number 4, first reading and public hearing of ordinance 2014-04, rezoning 11 properties on Shore Drive East. I'll read that ordinance by title only. Ordinance 2014-04, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, rezoning certain real property described as lots 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, the northwesterly 70 feet of Lot 41, the southeasterly 20 feet of Lot 41 of Block 10, Tampa Shores Bay section, and that property commonly known as 802 Shore Drive East from E2 Estate Residential to R1 Residential Single Family District, and providing for the effective date. That was a reading of ordinance 2014-04 by title only, and it requires a public hearing.
This is a public hearing where we allow anybody to speak in favor or against this particular ordinance. Does anybody wish to speak in favor of this ordinance tonight? Does anybody wish to speak against this ordinance? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. I need a motion to approve.
You got it?
Second.
Second, motion and second. Any discussion on this particular item? Nope.
It's a good thing.
Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Beaverland?
Yes.
Councilmember Roniker?
Aye.
It's the first time.
Davis?
Aye.
First reading of ordinance 2014-04, rezoning 11 properties on Shore Drive East from estate residential to residential single families, passed with 4 votes for and 0 against.
And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager, you're next.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The next item is a presentation of updated traffic study for Bay Arbor Place. I'd like to ask our Planning and Redevelopment Director, Marie Dauphiné, to provide some background on this item.
Good evening. I'm Marie Dauphiné, Planning and Redevelopment Director. As a condition of site plan approval for Bay Arbor Place, a traffic study was required. And the applicant did submit a traffic study for the intersection of Tampa Road and Bay Arbor Boulevard, Emerald Bay Boulevard. But as time went on, the project was not fully developed, and so we were waiting until it was fully occupied before we asked for an updated traffic study. So tonight, UPIX Warano, the PE from Cardinal TBE, will present the findings of the updated traffic study.
Which leaves us nowhere.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council members. My name is Upik Sawarno. I'm with Cardinal TBE, and I am the transportation engineer who performed the updated traffic study for the Bay Arbor Place development. Let me proceed with the traffic study analysis and findings. At the start of the study, the proposed methodology to be used for the traffic study was submitted to the city for review. They reviewed it and approved it, and prior to commencement of the study. When the study was underway, the data collection efforts included 24-hour directional approach counts at the approaches of the intersection of Tampa Road and Bay Arbor Boulevard, and that was taken from January 14th to 15th in 2014. And a turning movement count was conducted from 4 to 6 p.m. To capture the PM peak hour used for the analysis. And this is very similar to the methodology that we used for the original study in July of 2006. As part of this updated analysis, we did a roadway analysis, and then we also did a intersection analysis of Tampa Road and Bay Arbor Boulevard intersection. Based on the results of the roadway analysis, it showed that Tampa Road was operating at level service F, and the overall intersection level service is level service E. Now, I know that this is exceeding the level service standard of level service D. However, this roadway is actually designated in the Pinellas County Land Development Code as a constrained facility. And that is Tampa Road from Curlew Road to State Road 580. And based on section 134-259 of the code, it states that roadways designated as a constrained facilities and are operating at deficient levels of service under current conditions are precluded from capacity improvements necessary to alleviate the deficient level service conditions due to policy or physical constraints. Applicants of the development projects near constrained roadways are encouraged to implement transportation management plan strategies to reduce transportation impacts.
Could I ask a question before she finishes? How are you going to do that?
What's that?
How are you going to do that?
With transportation management plan strategies, there are several strategies in the land development.
Do that there.
Okay.
I don't want your book answer. I want you to answer it for me. How can they do that at that intersection?
Okay, what the developer has done, and this is part of the original traffic study.
I understand that, but they can't do anything else to alleviate the traffic there.
I don't know that that's necessarily true, but can we
Tell
just...
me how. Tell me how.
Well, the developer has created, they've deleted the out parcels, so they've concentrated the development in the center.
They've all done that. That's right. But there's only one way to get out of there.
There is the intersection, and then there are the 2 driveways. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so right in, right out driveway.
And they can't do anything else.
I would disagree with that. There are options, and I'd like to let you finish, but since he brought the subject up, I mean, I think there are some options. I don't know the merit of some of them. Obviously, a traffic light that when Mayor Roniker was on, hold on, let me finish. There, you know, that when there was a traffic light, if there was a traffic light, that would help at that intersection. And the other option that we've talked about is the potential of putting a no U-turn sign at that intersection and putting a directional turn arrow up at the Lockheed Martin light to funnel the traffic down to a signalized light as opposed for the congestion.
That's not what I ask. That's what we can do. I'm asking what the developer can do. He can't do any of that, what you just said.
Nobody can support it.
Well, he's going to support anything we want, but they cannot do anything on their own.
No, and
now we can ask for a traffic light, but we probably won't ever get it. But there's another thing that I'm going to bring up that we can do. But I'm talking about the developer, not us.
No, I understand it. And I think this is what the developer could do, which was part of their site development approval process, was that they needed to wait and do this traffic study.
Right.
And we wanted to wait until that plat, because we were going to do it, what, Jim, 3 or 4 years ago? And we waited until the entire plaza was full to get the best numbers that we could. So then we had the tools. So that is what they're doing for us, is to do this study. So
that was a requirement in the beginning.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, and as part of the site plan approval, they're required to implement transportation management plan strategies, which that's outlined in the Pinellas County Land Development Code. So some of these strategies are, like I said, deleting the out parcels and putting all the uses in a core area and putting the parking encircling the core area. So that way there's not a lot of movements coming from a lot of different portions of the parcel.
Mayor, I got to ask again. Mayor, I'm sorry, but this needs to be talked about. Are you saying that these are the things that they can do now?
That they've implemented as part of site plan approval.
That they implemented or that they can implement?
That they've already implemented.
Then okay, I understand that. Okay, you didn't say that in the beginning.
Okay.
You said these are things they can do, not things they have done. I'm
yeah,
sorry,
these
Mayor.
are, sorry, these.
Has to be discussed.
Okay, I apologize. These are things that the developer has done
okay, thank you.
to date. Access to the site is being limited to the 2 access driveways, and 1 access drive is a right in, right out, so limit to the movements, and then the other one is a directional, which is right in, right out, and then a directional left in. And then we have an eastbound left turn directional median located adjacent to the Tampa Road access, and well, let's see here. I think I've already talked about that. The proposed project is located on a mass transit roadway, and pedestrian improvements have been constructed, including pedestrian pavement markings on site, sidewalks around the development, and handicap ramps that connect to the proposed project to the existing sidewalk network. So those are the transportation management plan strategies they have implemented as part of this project.
As required by this project and the site plan?
Yes, as required.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Any questions?
I have a comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
You brought up one of them, is that I doubt seriously we'll ever get a light there. I doubt seriously, even though it does deserve a light there, I doubt we'll ever get it. We can continually ask for it over and over and over, which I think we should do. I don't know if this report would help any or not.
Absolutely.
We can always submit it to DOT. But there's something else that I think should be done, and you alluded to it. That intersection, you called it an E intersection. I don't know how in the world you came up with an E intersection. It's actually about a Z or an XYZ intersection. It's a horrible intersection. It's one that somebody's going to die there someday. You came up with an E. The lowest thing you can have is an F. Well, I think it's an F. Is that we need to channelize that thing somehow. I know some people are going to be upset, but we need to channelize that thing somehow. And you know more than I know, because you have to navigate it all the time, is put no left turns there and no U-turns there.
Well, I mean, I think and this, again, this doesn't get to, what your tool, I think, is going to help us with moving forward is going back to the DOT. We went when Mayor Roniker was on council as mayor and talked to them about that. They now have a new district secretary from the time that we went there. So we hope we can do that. I think from a personal perspective, because I live in the community right behind there, and I live it, as you said, every day, what I don't want to see, which they would maybe recommend, would be what we call pork chops, which is, you know, eastbound left in, and you couldn't go eastbound coming out of Bay Arbor or Bay Arbor Place, and then, you know, the same the other direction. They call it a pork chops because it's a directional in and out. And I really don't think that overall that's the best solution, because living there, you know, for the past 12 years, it's really, the bad experiences is about an hour to an hour and a half in the morning, an hour in the evening. The rest of the time, it's fairly good to get in and out of there. And, you know, when there's no traffic on a Saturday or Sunday coming either way, to have to go up and make a U-turn, I don't know that that's the best answer. I think maybe a compromise to try it would be, you know, the no U-turn there, and send everybody up. Because what happens is you'll sit at coming out of Bay Arbor Place in Bay Arbor, and you'll want to go left or eastbound, and cars are constantly pulling out of Bay Arbor Place, out of the other entrance, getting into the left turn lane and making a U-turn, and it just really clogs up that thing. So if we could do a no U-turn there, move the traffic that's going to U-turn up to the light at Lockheed Martin, give them a dedicated left turn so that they could do it in a controlled environment instead of, you know, risking pulling into traffic like we had, what was it, a week or 10 days ago, the car that, you know, got hit and flipped over right there at that intersection. So, I mean, I think that's probably a better, you're right, I don't know that we'll get a light, but, you know, the DOT can really do whatever they want. We've always talked about synchronizing it with the Lockheed Martin light, which makes the most sense, but then they tell us, you know, there's the one at Panera and the one at Curlew Tampa Road, and those are supposed to be synchronized, and those are the furthest things from synchronized. So at any rate, we appreciate it. I don't know if anybody else has any questions or comments.
Yeah, I have a question. I like the pork chop idea, and also I agree with you that the worst times are the rush hour times, and making a eastbound out of Bay Arbor is very convenient when there's no traffic. So could you do that? And like they have those signs that say you can't do this from 4 to 6 or?
Yeah, the problem is the pork chops are hard fixed concrete thing. You couldn't go through there. So
it would be either or.
It'd be either or. And it's, I mean, I don't know that that's the best solution. But, you know, we'll see. I think now we've got a tool, this is really what we've been waiting for, is to take this tool and go back to the DOT, and we'll get together with staff and figure out what the best approach is and how we do it, and see what we go from there. So, Jim?
The purpose of the study was to see if the traffic warranted a light there. Mm-hmm. Obviously it doesn't. I've got a couple questions about the methodology that was used to get to on the counts. You don't know that?
It was not to look at whether or not a light was warranted. That would be a traffic signal warrant analysis. That was not part of the updated study.
My understanding, I guess this is for the city manager, was back a couple of years ago, wasn't that what we wanted, was a traffic warrant study for the light? I was always under the impression that was what was going to happen when the plaza filled up.
We could still have that done.
Okay.
And I don't know.
But looking at what you've done, you can't really ascertain if we're close or not. Because that would lead me to my next question, is you did the study on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, when I think there's probably more traffic on like a Friday and a Saturday night there.
Fridays and Saturdays are not considered typical days for counts. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, based on IT, are typical days to do counts. Unless it's a special type generator that would show for a Saturday that it's generating more traffic.
Because on Friday, Saturday, that parking lot is full. You can't park in there. So there's a lot more car traffic in there on Friday, Saturday night when people are in the restaurants and stuff like that. I think we need to do the traffic warrant study.
I mean, I guess initially I think my thought is, and I agree with you, but I think what we did with the previous one before they did this updated one was they actually looked at that, and because there was no peak, I guess, left turns or, you know, out of there, that it didn't even meet really to do a warrant study. I think, I don't know if I'm correct on that, but I think this is going to tell us if we're closer to, you know, meeting their requirements.
Yeah, we've got some volumes here, and we've got some approach volumes for the intersection for at least a full day. And for a signal warrant analysis, you need at least 8 hours of data to look at. And it's got to meet, majority of the warrants, and there's 8 signal warrants. So it can't necessarily meet just one and be considered. You got to kind of look at all of the warrants and see if together as a combination that it would warrant it.
So in the study that you did, did it include like seasonal increases, and did they add that in, or did they just go, okay, this is what
for
happened
this
Tuesday to
study,
Wednesday, this is
we
it?
did do it. We did apply a peak hour factor as well as a seasonal factor. So it has been, grown to seasonal factor.
And is there a big increase from the last time the study was done?
As far as the numbers,
Yeah.
I can't tell you quantity-wise. I know the level of service is about the same, because in the original study, they expected or projected that the level of service would be exceeded as well as
the lowest level you could get. I mean, so they've got an out on that. I mean,
It's going to be an F from here to.
Right.
Existing when they first started the study, it was already an F, and again, that's why they designated it as a constrained facility. There really wasn't a lot to do because of policy and because of right-of-way or physical constraints.
Right.
And so that's why they and to try to mitigate some of those impacts, they've outlined some of these transportation management strategies.
Well, look, what we need to do is do what Jim suggested, that we have a traffic study for a light, because sending this DOT is not going to do a bit of good. Having an in-depth traffic study. This was the second time. This is the second one that we requested, which is about 4 years out. We never requested it to be a.
I thought we did. But
no.
I think it was part of the site plan approval that they had to update the traffic, the traffic study was what it was. And
so if we want to do one that's really in depth, have them do that, we can have.
Well, I mean, I think first, at least I think we want to look at the one that we did whenever the plaza was built and look at this one and really see what the numbers are. If it's much the same as it was before, I'm not sure where we're going with it, but if it's drastically different as increased, I think, we may do that. And this study is one of the components of the traffic warrant study, is it not? Or at least a tool in meeting some of the criteria.
Yeah, we've got enough data, I believe, that you could use it for a traffic signal warrant study, because we've got directional approach counts on each approach for a full 24 hours. Okay. So you have that data to use. You can utilize that for the signal warrant study.
Okay.
If we do that, I would suggest that we put in, if we initiate now, to put no U-turns there, and then proceed with the.
Well, that's something that the DOT has to do, but we kind of were waiting for this and we'll look at the data before we approach the DOT, and we don't want them to put the pork chop in if we can solve it somewhere else. Ultimately, we'd like the light. I think a no U-turn and a directional is probably the second best.
I don't think they would have a big problem with no U-turns.
I think an arrow at Shady Oaks.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, that's what I said. Push them up to Lockheed Martin light. Give them a dedicated. Give them a dedicated. You call it Shady Oaks. I call it Lockheed.
Right. Well, I thought you were actually using their.
No.
Because we had talked about using their driveway.
No, we tried. Yeah, we did try that.
Yeah, you could do that. The only thing is you need to just look at the turn lane length at that intersection to make sure it's long enough, because you're adding all the additional traffic there.
The problem is they're doing it right now at Bay Arbor Place at our intersection. We would just move them down there. Mm-hmm. So and the other thing that's happening is everybody from Bay Arbor that doesn't want to turn left, they make a right out of there, and they have about 500 yards, 8 seconds to get across 3 lanes and get over there.
Merge.
So it's it's difficult, but we appreciate it. Any other questions? I think this is just the one next step in what we need to do. Bruce, your thoughts?
I think the warrant analysis is probably the next thing to do.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Mayor and Council, item 6, authorize the city attorney to prepare ordinances amending the land use from county designation of residential urban to city land use designation of residential urban, and rezoning from county R4, 1, 2, and 3 family residential district to city R3, residential 2 and 3 family district. This is 4 lots located in West Oldsmar that were annexed. I think they were all 4 last year or within the last several months. And we've done this for a period of time, once or twice a year. We do a land use ordinance and a zoning ordinance for the properties that have been annexed. Rather than doing each one as they come along, we do this, like I said, once or twice a year. So tonight we are requesting that you authorize the city attorney to prepare the two ordinances, and the properties that are subject to the land use amendment and rezoning are blocks. In block 17, we have lots 28 and 29, and in block 18, lots 2 and 3.
Perfect. This is one at a time, as you say, isn't it? One at a time. Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor and council, the next item, approve amendment to the Tuscany Woods sales agreement. There are several provisions that are amendments to the contract for the sale of this property. It's located at the intersection of Forest Lakes Boulevard and Pine Avenue. We are at the seller, and the amendment states that the closing date will be extended to April 15th. That would be 2 weeks from today. The buyer has increased their deposit to $100,000. It shall be non-refundable to the buyer except in the event of a seller default. The purchase price is also increased $10,000 to $535,000. If you have any questions or comments, I'd be happy to respond to those. I should also point out that one of the amendments, the contract originally provided that it could be assigned, and the seller acknowledges, that would be us, by this amendment, that the buyer intends to assign the agreement to Taylor Morrison of Florida Incorporated. They would be the builder of the townhomes. If you have any questions or comments, I'd be happy to respond to those. I recommend approval of the amendment.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion on this item? I think it's great, especially that we're locking them in to non-refundable and the price has gone up. So, I mean, we want it to happen, and they've just run into a glitch on the other piece with their permitting, so they want to.
Now they know we're serious.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Passes 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Item number 8, award bid for trail construction Phase 3. I'll talk a little bit about both items 8 and 9 as they are obviously related. These are the last two phases of the trail construction that's currently funded. I believe the council's aware that the construction of the trail is funded 100% through federal funds coming to us through the Pinellas Metropolitan Planning Organization, MPO. And recently there were some amendments. As you recall, the bids came in a little bit higher than was originally estimated. So those agreements with DOT, the council approved a month or so ago. So now we are ready to award the bid. We are recommending that it be awarded for Phase 3 to Tampa Bay Construction and Engineering Incorporated in the amount of $518,184. Have any questions or comments? I'd be happy to respond to those.
We're almost there. Almost there. I need a motion to approve.
You got it.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Well, we started this, what, in 1994, 1990?
About 20 years ago.
1994. I remember at one time our planning, which Nick Stasko, he gave me a trail thing because I was kind of
less than enthusiastic, perhaps.
And he gave me a trail sign and signed it on the back. With your help, maybe. But this has been going a long time. And something I said a little while ago, Mayor, if you go to any city in Pinellas County, none of them have the park systems we have. None of them. None of them have the trail systems. I said, name one city that has the trail systems that we have. Thank you, Lynn. None of them have that.
I agree.
We are unique in so many ways, and I think this is incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nick, for starting all this 25 years ago.
Yeah. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. Did I already do that? No? That was on the last one. Passes 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you. And while we're doing a little review before it's related to the trail, this funding that is coming to us through the MPO is due in large part to when Mr. Roniker served on the MPO and was advocating for the funding for the trail. And as you said, Mr. Beaverland, it's been a long process, and that was part of it that we're now seeing come to fruition. So it was time well spent, even though I don't remember when that was in the last decade, sometime. Okay. Item number 9, award bid for trail construction phase 5. We're recommending the bid be awarded to the low bidder Ajax Paving Industries of Florida in the amount of $586,703.70. If you have any questions or comments, I'd be happy to respond to those.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion and second. So you mean we started this project way back in the 1900s?
1900s. Way
back in the 1900s. That sounds weird.
Way back.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Passes 4-0. Thank you. City Clerk. Thank you. City Council, I just want to say, and I meant to mention this earlier, Gabby has an excused absence. She had a previous commitment that conflicted and she couldn't get out of today, and she is out of town. So first is council comments. Vice Mayor Norris.
Yeah, I was thrown when she called me that. It was the first time. I was like, I have a couple things. I wanted to address what you talked about, John, in council comments. I, too, have been a little concerned about the appearance that, we've been having some press about business and everything. Jerry's right that we do everything that we can to we want it to be beautiful, so we don't want to have anything at the expense of it being, not what is going to fit in with what will make us beautiful. But I appreciate your comments, and I share your concerns as well, so I wanted to thank you for that. And thank you, Mayor, for letting me do my first vice mayoral duty on Saturday. I was like tired from the parade and the festival, and I went home and I was in my PJs, and I get a text from Ann, can you give the trophy out to the Oldsmar Cup because Doug's tied up? And I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that, So I went, and I want to say congratulations to horse number 5. You bought her, and he was a long shot, so that was kind of cool. Or she. I don't know if it's a he or a she. I'm sorry about that. I should know that. And so I got to give the trophy, and afterwards I ran into Ruben at the festival and talked about the possibility of maybe in the future being able to use Janice's hats when we do that. And he said that he had already spoken to Ann about it. Right, and so I think that maybe in the future, not if you don't want to wear it, Mayor.
I was wondering where this was going.
If a girl.
I love Janice's hats on Janice, but.
But you would be the kind of mayor that.
I would do it, yeah.
Would wear Janice's hats.
I have a weird hat collection.
So that was nice. I enjoyed that. And then I wanted to also commend you, Jerry, because Oldsmar Days was, although we did get rained out at that few hours, half a day on Saturday. We were all there and going around, and the bands were awesome. They were just awesome. And then I went around and talked to all the vendors and thanked them and told them we couldn't control the rain, but a lot of them had come from far away. They were new vendors. They had very unique items, which is nice that we had a good variety of things that were sold and food that was prepared. So it was a lot of fun. And thank you, Oldsmar Cares, because I won the bike. That was really cool. And of course, you've already discussed the Future of the Regions Awards, which was a huge, huge, huge honor. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Beaverland.
Janice's memorial was moving, and she will always be in our mind. Every time we sit up here, she'll be here with us. And thank you all for who you are.
Jim.
I would echo the sentiments on Janice's services. They were very, very moving and well attended. And I'd also echo what Linda said, or Vice Mayor Norris said about the chamber event. I was there Friday and Saturday. I didn't make it there on Sunday, but the people, my neighbors that were there on Sunday, said that they thought it was record crowds on Sunday, so that was good to hear. And the only other thing I got is I just want to remind people that April 25th is going to be the Relay for Life here in Oldsmar with Safety Harbor. We've already got, we were pretty proud of this, we've got 33 teams already, and we've already raised a little over $30,000 before the events even happen. So we're on pace to meet our goals. And if anybody wants to donate and they can't, it's a great cause. It's for, trying to find a cure for cancer. If you want to donate, I know the city's got something on their website, right, Ann?
Yes.
For Relay, or you can just go to Relay for Life, type in the Oldsmar zip code or the city of Oldsmar. And, even if you give $5 or $10, it does help and make a difference. So I'd encourage everybody to come out Friday. The ceremony starts at 6 o'clock. And I don't know what time it ends on Saturday, but, it's 7. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be there the whole entire night, but I will be there Saturday. Mayor, we're expecting you to speak on Saturday, hopefully.
I'll be there.
So hopefully we'll see everybody out there. That's all I got.
That's it.
Mayor, before you get your, I do have one announcement. I am going to resign my seat, and I am going to run for mayor at the next election.
Seriously?
April Fool.
You never know with you.
Jeez.
Oh, my goodness.
I already addressed the Gabby thing. The BMX Gator Nationals happened since our last meeting, and I talked to the USA BMX people today, and the numbers were great. They surpassed last year's numbers. I think we had riders from 18 countries and 38 states last year, and we upped it to 22 countries, only 35 states, but having 22 countries participate is huge. So that was a great success. They had a record number of a number higher than last year. So it shows great support. The hotels and restaurants and everything, they actually wrote us letters supporting the event moving forward. So that was a great success and a big feather in the cap for the city of Oldsmar. Phil Fest is coming up this weekend. I've got it here somewhere. Saturday, April 5th from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. It's the 8th annual Phil Fest. Raising awareness of melanoma. It's a great time. If you haven't been down there, stop by there. They've got some great bands playing all day long and food and vendors and things like that. So they could certainly use your support. They got free testing as well. And also our annual Easter egg hunt is Saturday, April 12th at 9 a.m. down at RE Olds Park, and that is free. And definitely make sure you get down there in time, because those little kids can scoop up those eggs so fast. They couldn't clean up their room as fast as they picked up those eggs. If you told them, maybe if we do that, tell the kids there are eggs hidden in their room, they'll clean them up faster. But I would say, I don't know how many eggs we had, 10,000 eggs, and they were probably scooped up in 3 minutes, something like that. So
1,000 eggs.
I don't have no idea. I don't know how many eggs there are, but it's a lot. Huh? 6,000 eggs. That's a lot of eggs, and they were scooped up super fast. So that's all I have. Anybody else anything for the good of the cause? Nope. I need a motion to approve the April 15th agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Got it.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Passes 4-0. 5, 6 minutes to 8.
You're down 3-0.
Oh, yeah.